Hi, welcome to Louis-Philippe Talks. In this video, I want to dive into the question, are you here living your life or someone else's? So let's start with this scenario. You wake up in your bed and you think of all the things you want to do, things that excites you. But then the alarm goes off, an alarm that makes you remember that you have work, that you have work because you have bills that await for payments. And so you put on the side what lives in you just to go to work. And while you get ready, you fall on the autopilot of the day that is yet to come. And you go to work, and the day at work goes by just like the one before, and last week and last month. The tasks are different, but it's all the same at the end, right? If you work on a computer, regardless what you do on it, you work on a computer. That's what it is. And then at the end of the day, you come back home. You retrace your steps back home, and your evening routine starts until 10 o'clock arrives, and you go to bed just to restart the day, but tomorrow. And after 5 days, well, a week, the weekend arrives. Sometimes you will do something special out of the blue, but most likely it will repeat itself, just like the weekends before. Living like that is easy. It doesn't require us to think about anything. We just bring ourselves on autopilot and do things automatically. But when we do things that we do on a daily basis and that we do things that we do automatic on an automatic pilot, then our days, our weeks go by without us. It's just like you sit in your car and you let the car drives. And then when you arrive at destination, you just go out of the car. You don't realize what you drove. You don't realize what what the area where you passed by. You saw it without really seeing them. But the thing is that even on autopilot, life has a rhythm. Life is a rhythm that you follow, and either you give your life the rhythm that you want, or someone else gives you the rhythm that you will follow. And so, did you ever find yourself questioning your life's rhythm? Have you ever stopped and wonder, am I really living for me? Am I really living my own life? Or am I just following someone else's script? At the end, you do you, as the saying goes. But on which basis are you you? It's easy to believe that we're in control. Daring thinking the opposite would be just frightening. It would mean that we are mere puppets of a puppet master. But to truly be assured of something, we need to question it, especially the one from which the idea of thinking about the question gives us a thrill. What I mean by that is, when you think of the question, what thrills you is the answers that goes with it. And so, what if our choices, our careers, our relationship aren't truly ours? That the things we chase, the things we fear, even the way we define success were programmed into us long before we could choose for ourselves. Today, let's explore how childhood programming and expectations shape who we think we are, and how to reclaim the lives that's truly ours. When we're born, we have everything to learn. Some would say that we're blank canvas, but we're already tainted by our DNA, which is our default setting for our lifelong journey. I will tell you why I'm saying that DNA taints us. I grew up without my dad, and even though he wasn't in the portrait until I was 9 years old, and then much later, um, he he was living in me, as in I was just with my mom, and my mom, I would do something, and my mom would look at me, and she would say, "This, this is your dad." And I would look at her, and I would say, like, What do you mean? What are you saying?" "This is my dad." She said, "How you're acting right now, this is exactly how your dad would act." And I never met the guy. I had no idea of how you could act in this moment because I never saw him at all. And so, even though he wasn't in my life, he was in me. He tainted who I was. And I'm not complaining about it. I'm just saying that that part of his that he gave to me was mine. And that's what I mean when I say that we're not exactly blank canvas. Our DNA shape who we are a bit, or at least kind of give us a foundation of who we are. After that, you can build what you want, but the foundation is important. And for example, my dad is a sore loser, which I can be, and I'm still working on it. But that part of foundation kind of make things a bit wobbly when I'm losing, right? It depends how I'm losing, but yeah, you get the point. So DNA gives you a foundation of who you are, and it's important to acknowledge it. However, as I said, the possibilities remains endless, and this regardless of this inner color given by our parents. Then there is everything else that we learn through the people around us. We are like sponges, absorbing the behavior and energy around us. In life, we learn fast about which behavior will bring us favors and the one that will lead us to a different outcome. We learn what kind of child gets praised, the smart one, the quiet one, the helper, and we learn what kind of child gets corrected, too loud, too emotional, too different. Regardless of whether we are being praised or corrected, we know that the judgment will always come from someone else, a parent, a teacher, a boss, most likely someone in power. If it's someone equal to us, like a colleague or a sibling, they will talk to the person above, a parent or a boss. Sometimes we are in charge, we are the boss, and we are the one who need to arbitrate a situation, bringing judgment to the ones under us. Over time, those lessons harden into beliefs. External approval is important to make our way in the world, and we learn it quite fast. And we learn it so fast that by the time we reach adulthood, we've built a life around those lessons without even realizing they were programmed into us. To navigate the sea of life, we learn how to behave by passing some checkpoints and reaching the next one. Through conformity, we learn how to forge the mask we need for the next challenge. Carl Jung called it the persona, the mask we wear to face the world. One could say that we're just tilting ourselves to meet acceptance, just like agreeing on a dress code to go somewhere. But instead of clothes, it's our behavior. Until it becomes something deeper, more personal, like, I don't know, like an ideology. It sure helps us fit in, avoid rejection, and earn approval, but at what cost? Over time, the mask risks becoming ingrained, losing our real identity to the door we've learned to open wearing such masks. Maybe you were the high achiever who learned that being perfect was the only way to be loved, or the caretaker who learned that loves mean putting everyone else first, or the pacemaker who learned that It may be safer to stay silent than to upset anyone. These roles help us survive, but they often keeps us from living authentically. So, how can you tell when you're living by someone else's expectation? Here are a few signs. You've achieved what you were supposed to, yet you still feel empty. You find it hard to make choices without worrying who you will disappoint. You're afraid of slowing down because what happens if you're not productive? You feel like you're on autopilot, living on a script that you never wrote. And deep down, there's a feeling that keeps us uneasy. It's like a quiet voice that whispers, "This isn't me." That feeling that tries to whisper to you is your authentic self trying to be heard again. At some point, life gives us an invitation, sometimes gentle, sometimes painful, to wake up. It may come through burnout, through heartbreak, through losing something that once defined you. Or I don't know, maybe simply through a guy that started posting videos on YouTube that you've started watching. And suddenly, you start asking questions you learned to overlook. Why do I believe I have to earn rest? Who told me being emotional is weak? Is this dream even mine? These type of questions can be uncomfortable, but the discomfort comes from the answers that goes with the question. At the end, a question is only the door of the answer behind. And some doors are scary to open because we just don't want to get into a particular room and face what's inside. When you start asking questions, you start recognizing the mask and you slowly face the parts of you that were hidden for years. But that's where real freedom lives. It's in the willingness to ask, what if the real me suffocate behind a mask I've learned to wear? So how do you begin to live your life again? Here are 5 steps to start your journey back to authenticity. Step 1. Reflect. Take a journal, write down what your parents, teachers, and culture taught you about success, love, and worth. Then ask, how do I feel about these? If you're unsure about something, it's time to rewrite the way that fits you. For example, you learned that the best one always succeeds on the first try. But when you think about it, it doesn't feel right to you. So if it doesn't feel right, if you write anything and it doesn't feel right, think about what feels right for you and write it down next to it. Maybe the best one is the one that keeps on pushing even if he fails the first time. Or the best one doesn't exist because there is always room for improvement. There the best one can be however you see it, or any other life lesson you've learned through life can be however you see it, as long as it resonates with you. That's what matters. Because when it resonates with you, it's when you find yourself. Step 2. Feel. Let yourself experience the emotion you once had to hide. Sadness, anger, joy, tenderness, excitement, fear. Feeling doesn't make you weak, it makes you real. It can be daunting at first to feel again, but connecting to your emotion is simply to let yourself be yourself. But be careful not to let yourself blind by them. Because when your emotion overtake you, then it's the other opposite then, suppressing them. There's a balance that need to be reached. And this is welcoming them without falling into them. Step 3. Experiment. Try small acts of truth. Say no when you mean no. Express what you really think, kindly but honestly. Every authentic choice strengthens your voice. Step 4. Forgive. Forgive those who shaped you with their own fears and limitation, and forgive yourself for living by their rules for so long. It's not about blaming them. It's about realizing that what is this is what they teach me because this is what they knew, and now this is the change I want to bring to it. And remember, you were only doing the best you could, but it's always the right time to bring change. Step 5, redefine success. Success isn't what others applaud, it's what makes you feel alive, peaceful, and aligned. Maybe that's heart, maybe it's family, maybe it's freedom. Only you can define it. For me, for example, is to dance and to connect with people in a way that is authentic. This is what success is for me. Why dance? It's because I love music, and as I said, life is a rhythm, and dancing is following the rhythm. So when I dance, I just I just love it. I just lose myself in the moment. Because when you dance, you cannot be elsewhere than right here, right now, with the music. If you think about something else, you will not hear the music. I'm sure it happened to you. You listen to a song and then you realize that, oh, I missed the whole song because my head was elsewhere. So if you really want to dance, well, I mean, for me, I really need to be in the moment present and feel every note of the music and to live it. And to dance is to live it. So that's my definition of success. To be in the moment present. Yeah, I want to live authentically. And when I dance, I'm authentic. Living your own life isn't a one time decision, it's a daily practice. It's the courage to listen to your inner voice when the world is shouting something different. Is be able to dance when the world around you tell you to stop dancing. It's keeping on blooming even when the storm tries to stop you from it. It's choosing love over fear, freedom over conditioning, presence over performance. And with every small, honest choice, your real self begins to breathe again. You stop performing and start living. So I'll leave you with one question. If no one were watching, if no one were judging, even though we're our biggest judge, what would you choose to do with your life? If your life was a blank canvas, what would you draw on it? What would you want to do with it? Maybe it's time to stop living someone else's story and start writing your own. If today's talks resonated with you, if you've been feeling disconnected, lost in your own life, or like you've built walls around yourself, I want to invite you to something special. In January, I'm hosting a free online workshop called The House of Self. It's for those who want to slow down, reconnect with their body and emotion, and rebuild their inner sense of home. We'll be discovering who you are inside, exploring your boundaries, and finding balance in your world again. It starts on the 5th January, and it's completely free to join. You can sign up through the link in the show notes and start the new year not by adding more to your life, but by coming back home to yourself. Thank you for watching.